Good evening. It is Monday, July 14th, 2025. It is now 6:01 p.m. Welcome to the regular board meeting of the Park District of Grange. We'll start with a roll call this evening.
Commissioner Carter, Commissioner Weber,
Here.
Commissioner Posey,
Here.
Commissioner Veer,
Here.
President Obid.
Here. Quick announcements. First, just a reminder, if anybody does, if you haven't already signed in when you leave, I'd kindly ask you to sign our guest sheet. It just helps us know who was here. Thank you for everybody attending this evening. Also want to wish everyone a happy National Parks and Recreation Month. So we'll be celebrating, I'm sure Jenny will talk about that a little bit later. With that, any changes to the agenda this evening?
No changes to the agenda. There is one change to the minutes that were presented. So in the comment section under, the second public comment for Rose Nassif, we're changing the one sentence. The second to last sentence says she added that she hopes some green infrastructure can be added to the contaminated area. And we're updating that to say, she added that she hopes some green infrastructure can be added to the park accordingly, not just to the contaminated area. So that will be part of the minutes change.
Okay, thank you. At this point, let's move into public comments. Just a little reminder on how this works, because we do have a big crowd tonight. Thank you everyone for attending. We will allow you, each individual will have 3 minutes to address the board. I do stress it's to address the board. It's not necessarily a question and answer. So we would invite you to do that if you wish to do so. When you do, please state your name and address just so we have it for the record. And please, with that, I guess I'll open the floor. So I'll ask, would anybody like to start with public comments this evening? Would you like a mic? Sure. I'll bring it back over there. Yeah, please.
So my name is Marty Kick, 616 Selborne Riverside. I'm here representing AYSO 300 region, which utilizes all many of the fields of the Grange as well as some of the surrounding suburbs. Just want to say thank you again for allowing for us to work with you guys. We take a lot of pride in our soccer. It's an all volunteer-led organization. I don't have the numbers yet of how many kids have registered yet for the upcoming fall season, but we anticipate quite a bit. And just wanted to say that thank you, and we look forward to working with you guys even further as the season approaches. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Additional comments?
Hi, my name is Tony Clark, and I'm here representing the Grange Handball Club, which is a newly formed grassroots effort that we've put together in partnership with Park District of Grange, and we run a class and camp. We just closed out our first session end of May, went through a couple weeks ago, and we've had 18 kids registered for our program, and it's been an overwhelming success. We have some of the participants here now with us and a parent as well. Yes, and we just wrapped up a tournament for the World Professional Handball Players at Gordon Park in Grange this past weekend. We had over 100 participants from all over the country. And I know it's not a question and answer thing, but Jenny, I know Mike Zahoric sent you an email with some questions regarding what's going to happen to the east of the handball courts in Gordon Park. He has some suggestions in there, and we look forward to hearing about that.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Bernadine Sims. My address is 117 Washington Avenue in LaGrange. And I'm calling because I have a curiosity comment. And my curiosity comment is concerning the naming of the park behind the community center. And I have got some information that said it's going to be named after Mary Ellen Pennycook. And I did read up on her a little bit about her. She seemed like a very nice lady, and she has a lot of involvement here with the park district here at LaGrange. But that particular park is in a community where I don't think any of the children would be familiar with that name. And I just think that being where it's located and those that fought to get that center built should have more of a community inclusion name. It should have a name that some of the kids can recognize as either they're kin to them or they know them, they know part of their families and stuff like that. And Miss Pennycock, you know, is probably a really wonderful thing, but it's just, to me, naming that park that would just totally alienate the familiarity of the children that play there. So that's my comment. And then there's another park here that's called Rotary Park, where we've never called it Rotary Park. It's located on Sawyer. It's always been called Sawyer Park. I just found out recently that it's named Rotary Park. And I don't know who names them, and I haven't really ever been included in naming the places, but I do know that it does make a difference if you're in a neighborhood and your children play and everything, and your family have fought for certain things to be there, that to name it something of someone who the kids are not familiar with, I think if we could change it or do something that would include them or their families would be better.
Thank you for your comment.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Alice Woodson. My address is 112 Sawyer Avenue. I have a comment on the renaming of the center to Lynn Lacy. And my comment is this, is that there were so many people before her that established the center as to where it is now. As I was a child, I remember under Mr. Castle, by the time the village controlled the center and the parks. And Mr. Castle had asked the directors of the center to come up with a name. So, and it couldn't be a person's name. It just has to be something that's related to everybody. So they came up with the community center. And then it was changed to the East Side Center. And now it's the Grange Community Center. And I feel that why can't it stay the way it is? Because if you have the Lynn Lacy on the building as for the building, and Ms. Pennicott for the playground, it's like a division. I mean, it needs to be one, just one, like it always has been. So I don't know if you all have came to that decision yet, but I really appreciate it if you give us some thoughts, because I am one of the people that help children over the past years with their homeworks and arts and crafts at the center, because I worked for the park district. And we all was mentoring children and teaching them how to be respectful and how to get a good education. So it's a whole lot of people's name could go on that building besides Lynn Lacy, but they're gone. So I just say leave it as LaGrange Community Center for the past and the present, because it's representing everybody and not just one particular person.
I agree.
Thank you.
My name's John Pluto, live at 718 East Avenue. Thank you. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to address this body. I want to apologize for being out of order at the last meeting. I'm very passionate about what I believe in. I want to address several issues that are of concern to me and hopefully as well to you. The core samples that have been already reported were done on the periphery of the park. There were 24 core samples. 7 of them were in the road on 47th Street, East Avenue. I don't think there was enough core samples in that park to give it an honest reflection of what that park is, the dangers underneath that park. I would like to see additional core samples done near the home plate dugouts and the bleachers over on 49th Street. That's where all the water runs off. And
We have buildings that were put up there. We have water lines that were put in 2010 that go all the way across the park. We have sewer lines. All of those were dug before anybody cared about how the dirt went in and went back in the hole. So we could have some groundwater contamination that comes off of that. That concerns me. I would like to see additional core samples everywhere on that south side of that park, because that's where the water runs off. Again, we need to address the water line that runs across that park from 49th Street to 47th Street. That has settled, and there's a water line that runs alongside the concession stand. There was no mention of this. My reasoning is because the depth of that current contaminants could be at that water line depth, and none of that stuff was done the proper way back in 2010 and prior to that. We don't know when the sewer line was put in. So it would be useful to sample the catch basins that are in that park. There are 10 of them. The ones that are still filled with dirt should be sampled to see if groundwater runoff is contaminated. That will tell us if that park is safe for everyone in that park. We don't really know by the scattered samples that we have. And that's going to wrap it up for us tonight, hopefully.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Appreciate it.
I think the
Hi, my name is Mary Lou Kelmus, 543 South Park Road in LaGrange. I'm going to go to the recreational end. The comments have been. I've lived in LaGrange for over 40 years, and I've been to 3 park district meetings. They have all been regarding pickleball, or the lack thereof, in LaGrange. The first one, I don't know if it was 10 years ago or whatever, and I brought up the idea of pickleball to the board. Most of them hadn't even heard of pickleball. So that was a new idea. Okay, so I brought that up. The next time I came, it was about, well, are we going to get any pickleball courts? And I was told, yes, there would be pickleball courts installed over here behind the rec center. That never happened. Now I see, okay, there are pickleball courts. If you bring your own nets over in Sedgwick Park, and then you can come play indoors. Well, indoor pickleball is totally different than outdoor pickleball. I have seen communities around me. LaGrange Park got pickleball courts, I believe. Brookfield has like 4 courts. They're lined for tennis or pickleball, which is fine. Western Springs just put in a whole boatload of new ones in Spring Rock Park. And around the different communities, there are many. Pickleball is one of the fastest growing interests, sports, if you will, in the country. And we don't have any dedicated pickleball courts outside. So I would just like to see that addressed.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I do just want to note with our referendum projects, we are getting 4 dedicated pickleball courts at Sedgwick.
When is that?
2026.
Okay. I haven't been to a
Yeah,
meeting in a long
that's okay.
time.
Yeah, it's okay. That's okay.
But,
Yep.
we've been promised it before, so.
No, those are really coming.
Okay.
Okay?
I'll believe it when I see it.
Fair enough.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming again. Let's move to agenda item 3.0. I'll look for an approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting, June 9th, 2025, with the previously mentioned amendment. Approval of the financial reports dated June 30th, 2025, and approval of the consolidated vouchers for July dated July 14th, 2025.
So moved.
Commissioner Veer?
Yes.
Commissioner Posey,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
President Open.
Yes. Let's move on to staff reports, and we will start with the director's report this evening.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I'm hoping to address some of the items in the public comments, but I do want to start out with that July is National Parks and Recreation Month. It's a tradition since 1985, and it's to celebrate the importance of parks and recreation playing communities and across the country. Also, it's a time to thank our staff and board and residents for everything we do for the Park District. So make sure to get out in the parks and celebrate Parks and Recreation Month. I wanted to give a brief update on the facilities. So the 3 facilities, Community Center, Sedgwick, and Gilbert, are in construction, under construction right now. And they are wrapping up and should be done early August. The Community Center will be done early August to mid-August, but will remain closed during the outside repairs to construction when we move to the park, because they are going to be fixing the sidewalks and the entrance, so we won't be able to open that building right away. It still will need to remain closed. At Sedgwick, we have been looking at our programming, and since our preschool program has declined, we are going to be putting in sprungwood floors in the Sedgwick building to accommodate a dance program. So we could do either preschool or a dance program. So it already has mirrors, so we're kind of already halfway there, so we decided to update the floors there too. And then any preschool classes that were held there would be moved to the recreation center. So trying to reduce maybe the locations of preschool. And then Gilbert should probably be the first facility done. We have another walkthrough next week where I did put a bunch of photos in the board packet, so hopefully you had a chance to look through those, but we should see more final products in the next couple weeks, so I'll keep everybody posted, and we have been updating the website as well. Wyola Park, which is the grant, we put several updates within the board packet as well, but that is coming along well. Everybody should probably see the park and the shelter. And the remaining asphalt work should be happening this week. Again, some of these dates are tentative to change based on weather and contractors, but pour in place should go in the week of July 21st, and we'll continue to keep the community updated, and we'll still on the projected date of October 4th for the substantial completion date. I'm going to move to Sedgwick. We are still working with White & Company to update the plans with the removal of the senior field and then putting the larger senior field in the prep field place. TSC was out there doing more testing this week for the contract. They did put in some monitoring wells and are testing the water, so they are in the process of doing that. And then once White has the detailed plans developed, which should be closer to August or probably September, they will come back for a presentation to talk about the grading, the drainage, all those items. So we don't have updates at this point, but we will bring them back and when we have all the information to share. Good news for Sedgwick. We did find out that when we heard the 2021 date that we weren't covered, we kind of pushed a little bit more our insurance company, and we did find out that that 2021 stop date was for the property next door when we acquired 610 East Avenue for the parking lot. So what that means is Sedgwick is covered. So we're going through insurance, so the insurance company will cover the remediation pending their approval based on what we're doing. It doesn't cover capital projects, so we just need to make sure we stay on a remediation plan with them, and we should get some of that covered. So that's great that it doesn't have to come out of our budget or the referendum dollars. We will be adding some alternates back in because of this for irrigation and putting sod in the outfield of the senior field so we can maybe use it a little more quickly. Also a new scoreboard. We'll be able to add back in the Gilbert soccer field drainage, so that's great. We did reach out to MWRD for biosolids, and they thought we could get 4,000 to 500,000 cubic yards, which would be equivalent to a $200,000 to $300,000 saving. So that's great news. So everything's kind of headed in the right directions. So that's an update on Sedgwick. Handball, thank you for coming out. Really exciting about your program and tournament. So I have been sharing with the board about adding a one-wall court on one of the sides of the current handball court. We are moving over the pavilion. The board had, when we spoke last with the board, you had said that if they wanted to do something, they would need to fund the wall themselves. So with that said, the board, before they start going into plans, we would want consensus on the board's thought on adding that. We do know that there's been some community feedback on hardscapes and adding more concrete into our parks. There's been a concern there. I also want to have the board keep in mind that right now the projects at Gordon keep our impermeable surface under a half acre. If that goes over a half acre, we have to add detention and retention for everything. And so once we start adding these items, it puts us closer to that or over, and it would increase the amount of detention needed. But just wanted to have a brief conversation from the board before they get started, if you'd like them to move forward with a proposal, because they would need to get engineers involved and things like that.
So if I'm understanding correctly, first I'm understanding this microphone is on. Okay. So congratulations to the handball community. That's fantastic. We love all kinds of uses of the park, and especially enthusiastic uses from a group that appears to be growing. I'm sure pickleball, once we're there in 2026, we'll be right there. But if I'm understanding the dilemma, or what we have to consider, is we do have a group that's using the park, currently using the park. There's an interest. However, we have to balance that against the limited resources that we have, and on top of that, the constraints that we have in terms of how we can use those resources, and what could happen if we build a structure that then puts us into a situation where it really kind of blows up our budget for the entirety of the parks, while also weighing other bigger interests that we workshopped when we were doing the when we were considering going to referendum. And to that, I'm speaking of the hardscapes versus more natural landscaping. So my initial thoughts is, while I'm very, very supportive of enthusiastic and really supporting enthusiastic groups, I struggle because we don't have a lot of space. We can only put so many. We have really limited resources that we're working with, and I'm talking about physical resources before we even get into budgetary resources. And so that's really where I'm struggling, is I want to encourage continued use of the park, but we have a responsibility to really maximize the uses that we have, while also balancing against the fact that we just have a limited amount of money. And so as I'm balancing these, I would be very, very concerned with us opening up a big hole in our budget if that tips us over, and it sounds like it probably would.
I don't know that answer for sure, but I mean it's a concern for staff, because when you have to start adding some of this retention and detention, we still add green infrastructure. I think it might have. Can I have that microphone, please? I think I just changed the batteries, but I think it died. We'll still add, best management practices, bioswales. Those are still going to be added, but we're talking, this would tip us over to more underground detention, and and detention ponds and things like that. So we want to, so that is one of the concerns. And there's also been inquiries about like future planning. Right now, we're just trying to get through the referendum, and then we're going to redo our comprehensive master plan. We were going to do a community-wide survey this year, but we're going to hold off until the referendum projects are done, and then we can do the community-wide survey. Once we have everything in place, get some more information, and then update our comprehensive master plan to see what the community wants next. So while we appreciate the ideas and we'll keep them in mind, but right now we're really focused these next 2 years on getting the referendum projects done, then going back to the community to see what needs they have still.
So the handball group, have they sent you anything to look at?
No physical drawings, just suggestions on adding a one-wall court, and then they wanted to add a shelter, but we are relocating that pavilion for them to the east of kind of where the bleachers are, right outside of the handball courts. And all those permits and drawings have been submitted to the village and approved by the board, so we're kind of moving forward with those as is.
So there's nothing for us to consider on it right now?
Well, I think it's going to cost money for them to put together a proposal. I don't know, I can talk to them about putting together a rendering, but I just wanted to get board consensus, because if the board is thinking the other way, I don't want them to waste their time. I don't want to waste anybody's time.
So is handball looking to fund the project?
Yes, the board stated that they would have to fund it themselves, but when you start getting into more retention and detention, if it tips that half acre, it becomes very expensive. So I don't know what kind of funding they would have
But
available.
they can fund the drawings too.
They would have to fund it all.
So, but we won't know if it's going to tip us over until somebody does that study.
Until the,
So I would think if they're willing to fund the study, then we'll know if we consider the plans. I think.
go ahead.
Oh, good.
Oh.
I don't think there's anything to ask. I mean,
I'd like to see what they have.
Okay.
I know one of their members pretty well. He said that they size it accordingly. They could also do pickleball on that one wall too, so that would be an additional resource for other users as well.
You don't do pickleball on a wall.
For
It's
practice.
not a wall. The court's big enough for pickleball if they line it.
Would be fenced in.
It would have to be, yeah. That's what they mentioned. If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's fine.
Strange.
It would be the right size. That's what they were relaying to me.
we
But
don't have to chase the ball.
You got lines and all that. I don't know how handball works.
I guess what I'm hearing is the one unknown, based on some of the preliminary emails I've seen, is there's this slab of a certain size. Jenny, to your point, it could potentially put us on this half acre.
how close are we?
That's one thing I'd like to know.
I would have to ask White to calculate that.
Okay. I'd love to know, just like back of napkin math, like if we added that slab, are we talking about a swimming pool size retention pond, or is it something that is like on the order of magnitude of the rain garden and Stone Park? Just to know, because I think that's a helps me understand,
Sure.
What we're talking about. And if we can do that without doing a big, huge comprehensive study, because my understanding is the plan is basically we're going to use the sidewall that already exists of the court and just put a pad there. I thought that's how.
I think they want to do the side wall on the east side, not the west side.
Right.
Yeah, they want to put a 48 by 50 pad, and a pickleball court is 20 feet wide by 44
But
feet
I think
wide.
that would be extremely helpful just to understand what we're getting into, because I do agree I don't want to add more to the mix right now if we're executing that current planning, but if it makes sense, I don't want to just throw it away. Okay. Additional comments from the board?
Okay, so I will ask White about the half acre and where we're at and where this would put us, and then I will get that information to the board. Good?
Yep.
Okay. And I think think that's all I had, unless there's any questions.
Any further questions for Jenny? All right, if none, let's move to Jamie for the Finance and Human Resources report.
Hi. I'll keep my report brief. I just wanted to mention that our on-site phase with the auditors has ended as of June 11th, and it is now under management review. And speaking with them at the beginning part of last week, they do expect it to go into first phase audit writing the next week or two. So timeline with upcoming board meetings, I'm looking at September to bring them out to present the final audit. So kind of keep that on your radars moving forward. And then the other thing I wanted to note, in my finance reports, you will see uptick in payroll fees. Obviously, we have seasonal hiring, so I just wanted to go ahead and point that out, that the payroll costs for June did increase from previous months. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Seeing no questions, let's move to Kevin for the recreation report.
It's super busy time for the rec department right now. We had our inaugural flag football season start. We had our first games this past Saturday. We have 127 players between first and sixth grade, 3 divisions. So we're very excited about that. Summer camp is ongoing. We're in week 6. There have been some ebbs and flows to the camp season for us on a variety of levels regarding staffing, behavior management of participants. So we have done we've done one retraining of all the staff the other week. We're doing a new site retraining tomorrow night that's mandated for all of those staff members. Just because we're seeing some things that we haven't traditionally seen that are becoming more concerning for us across the board. So we'll be handling those scenarios as they arise. And then we had Touch a Truck this past Saturday. Great event. We had 15 or so vehicles on sites. From what staff has mentioned to me, somewhere in the ballpark of 400 or 500 people that attended throughout the day. So that's a good number. We have our community garage sale on the 26th here at the rec center. That has maxed out. This is the first year we have maxed it out. So we'll have 30 vendors on site for that event. And then we are starting base hiring for the next school year. We have 8 returning staff. We are needing to hire 8 more for a total of 16 to get through the year, plus any subs. And then preschool training and prep is underway. We have 3 classes between the rec center and Gilbert, with a total of, 25 participants. So we're getting that situated. And then soccer affiliates, their seasons ended last month. We are prepping for fall, so I've spoken with all but LTSC. Even with all our construction projects going on, it looks like we're going to be okay for the fall season regarding soccer space. The Grange Celtics have found a site in Westchester that they are going to be hosting most of their practices and games, which kind of alleviated the burden on us. So we're able to free up some space for the other affiliates. Other than that, I can answer any questions.
Relating to summer camp, I understand there's been a little wobbly in terms of staffing. I would just note and suggest that summer camp is often the first time that it's often someone's first job as a camp counselor. And you also mentioned the challenges of, I'm sure parents can recognize the challenges of being a post-pandemic parent. And so it sounds like it's bringing up some new challenges for staff over the summer. And so what I would like to see is the park district kind of being taking both those things into consideration in terms of the staff themselves. And I would love for the park district to be a really positive beacon of employment for these new people. And so that's just a comment more than anything. I understand that the staff is doing great things with what we have and may require some adjustments going forward as it often does. But to the extent that that can be a consideration as well in terms of creating that really great positive culture that I know our district is and can be across the board. That's all the comment I have.
Additional questions? All right, why don't we move on to facilities and operation? Mike, I'll ask you to.
Good evening, everyone. So last month I reported to the board that we had gotten news that the YMCA of Greater Grange was going to close this month. That is still going to happen. However, there has been an update in that facility, and we had discovered that the community park district of the Grange Park is actually going to be set building and continue the operations inside. So they're slated to open back up on July 28th. And they are going to start selling memberships and taking applications next week on the 21st. With that being said, we still are confident that the Grange Fitness is a great option for community health and wellness at the fitness center downstairs. And we are still having a very good summer, which is typically a slower time for indoor fitness as people move outdoors. Some of the highlights for this past month was that we held a promotional event where we had $0 enrollment to try to retain some of those new members possibly leaving the YMCA. And that promotion ran from mid-June up until today. We've so far brought in 107 new members, which is great news. And the fitness center is still open for a couple hours, so we could get some more. And also during that promotion, we did host an open house event on Friday, June 27th. It was a very successful event. We had a number of guests come in. We had 18 new members sign up that particular day. We provided refreshments for them and also had a raffle for a personal training session. We also were able to partner with a new local business called Boot Rehab, and they opened their doors as a physical therapy clinic in the community. They were able to come in and re-invite businesses typically that will focus on community health and wellness just like we do. And it's just nice to be able to partner with them. We were able to connect with them through the Grange Business Association. So thanks to our marketing specialist, Katie Wagner, for helping on with that. And that's all I have. Any questions?
All right, seeing none, thank you. We'll move on to Larry to talk about park maintenance.
Hello. Early today we had the placement of the new condenser units for the gym. It went very smoothly this morning. And RJ O'Neill will be here the rest of the week to ensure a proper start of the units. That's all I have. If you guys have any questions.
I just want to say thanks for including those pictures of the rain gardens in the report. That was very useful to see some of these changes in progress. And I was disappointed, I'm just saying this as a parent, I'm disappointed to see what's the word, destruction of some of our equipment. Thank you for taking care of that, but it's just sad to see that. I'm disappointed about that.
For those of you who are not looking at the board packet, Rotary Park, somebody set the climbing wall apparatus on fire, it looks like, so it was damaged, so we had to take it down. So the good news is we're getting a new playground this summer, so but that board will remain up. But yeah, if you ever see anybody in our parks doing damage or vandalism, please call the police right away.
So you said, did you say Rotary?
Mm-hmm.
They said, did somebody set it on fire?
A piece of equipment.
Really? Was that done this month?
Recently, yes.
Do you remember when that was spotted, Larry? Right before 4th of July? Okay, so if you know anybody in the area, please ask. All right, I think that wraps up our staff reports this evening. Let's move on to action item 5. We'll go to 5.1, discussion and/or approval of the board policy manual updates section 300, 210, 286, and 830. I know we all had a very large, we had a lot of homework to do.
A lot of homework.
About 100 pages of reading.
I want to read through it before we do it.
Open reading, should I read it aloud?
Thank you.
Did you want to introduce changes?
Yeah. So again, I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, so stop me if you do have questions. Our policies, haven't been updated for quite some time, since the early 2000s, so staff are really working hard. We've gotten our personnel policy manual updated, and now we're working on our finance policies. We're also working on our safety manual, but tonight we have our Section 300 finance policies to go through. So Section 300, the preamble, there's been no changes. Section 302, we changed from annual tax levy ordinance to annual fiscal requirements, and we put all of our fiscal requirements within one policy and pulled them out throughout the rest of the packet or the policies. So for example, Section 304 was the annual budget and appropriation. That was popped into Section 302, so that one's being deleted. We added a new policy. We didn't have a revenue policy, so this new policy guides the Park District how we manage and monitor all of our revenue sources. Budget 306, there was really only minimal changes. It's the budget over expenditure controls, and this ensures that any over expenditures in one account is offset by a surplus within the same fund. Section 308, again, minimal changes here, transfer of appropriation ordinance items. This is more to cover unexpected expenses and allows us to reallocate funds between different appropriations within the fiscal year and requires 2/3 board vote for over 10%. Section 309 was updated to really clarify internal approval procedures. It's budget detail expenditure policy. It was also renamed to operational budget detail expenditure policy. Section 310 debt service was renamed to debt policy, and it really it kind of modernized the debt service and went into detail about our approach to managing debt and borrowing essentials for capital projects and repayment according to useful life of improvements. Section 312, our purchasing policy, this one we updated. I want to remind the board that this policy follows the Park District Code for bidding procurement, and that was recently changed. So it's $30,000 for labor and $60,000 for supplies and materials. So we may approve something that is budget approved by the board up to $90,000 without bringing it to the board. So an example would be our splash pad repairs. We budgeted $50,000, $25,000 is in labor, $25,000 is in materials and supplies, so that can now just be done, approved by the staff, because you've already approved the budget, and the new compliance allows us to approve it. So I just want to make sure that the board remembers that and is aware of that new law. So we still get quotes to make sure we're following best practice. Accounts payable and receivable. This really focuses the finance department for the managing of our payables and receivables. Return check. There was minimal changes here. We did increase the fee, as we had $20 in there, so now it's $25, or the bank fee if higher. Outstanding check policy. This is a new policy. We didn't have any sort of policy for outstanding checks, so if somebody doesn't cash a payroll check or a vendor check, we now have a policy that allows us to put it in, what is that called, Jamie? Unofficial,
it's the liability.
Liability, yeah, so to mark it as a liability. And then our investment policy, we modernized and strengthened it to expand our objectives, clear delegation of authority and enhance internal controls. Section 320, our fund balance policy, this did remain relatively the same. Major funds are 4 months worth of reserves, and we did change non-major funds, which is more of our set fees, insurance, audit. We made that those 3 months because we don't need as high of a surplus in there, and we can't, there's less flexibility with those funds, so we want to be able to keep those a little bit less. The bond post-insurance compliance, again, minimal changes here, but this is a formalized procedure after we issue bonds that we have to follow internally. Our fixed asset policy, we did update this to strengthen our asset tracking and clarify accounting procedures. We expanded a lot of the definitions. We updated capitalization threshold at 10,000. It was at 2,000, which is just too low these days. 10,000 is almost too low. But we're going to start at 10,000 and kind of, move from there. So we enhanced procedures for acquisition, disposal, and physical inventory, and updated the useful life schedule. 326, capital improvement policy. So we didn't have a capital improvement policy prior to this. This is a new policy. And again, it kind of promotes what we've been doing, right? We present the board with the 5 years. The current year is the one that is approved, and then we just have that schedule. So a couple other ones we added in here too was we did update our nepotism policy. We recently had some individuals wanting to hire part-time staff, and they're either a relative or on the board. Our previous policy required board approval for anything, so we are changing that to where if it is related to the board or staff, then the executive director can approve it. But if it is somebody related to the executive director, that would require board approval. We also changed it to where for the board and executive director, there can be no full-time employment for those types of individuals. So those are some of the major changes there. With the challenges with hiring and retaining staff, we wanted to make this policy a little bit more flexible so we could hire more staff and quality staff. We also added a new policy, section 286, for staff travel reimbursement policy. This one kind of came up. Right now, the policy for staff, it's staff and board travel reimbursement. It's under section 100, which is board policies, but we wanted to put something under the personnel policies. So the one under the board policies, we're going to update those soon too. That will strictly just be for the board. So we kind of want to separate them out. So that is a new policy. It aligns with the compliance with IRS regulations and the federal per diem guidelines. So there's now consistency and accountability across for staff. We've been doing this, but now we just have a formalized policy within our personnel policy manual. And then section 830, the summary of truth in taxation, it's being deleted. Again, we have section 700, which is other policies, and section 800, which is another section. And some of these are more procedures. Truth in taxation is, you have to follow the Truth in Taxation Act, so we don't need a policy. There's a law. So that one, we spoke with legal, and they said we can delete that one. And then we had 2 section 830s where the accounting procedures, again, these are procedures, these are internal procedures, and they don't need to be part of the policy manual. So we'd like to delete that one as well. Did you get all that? Mm-hmm. I'm happy to answer any questions because I know it's a lot of information.
Any questions? Are you ready to make a motion? Please.
Okay, and did you notice I started putting the motions right on the memo?
I saw that and I was excited. Before we make this motion, I want to thank you for updating all of our policies and procedures because it has been overdue, and I know is an awful job, but
Maybe to add one more thing to that, reading through this, I know as well, a lot of the things that were added in here are things the staff, in a lot of cases, is already doing.
Yes.
So I think it's wonderful because we're just memorializing some of the policies we already have in a way that also the public can review it and actually see, how we make the sausage. So I really like this. Congratulations, I know it's a lot of work.
Yeah, and thank you to the board for reading it. I know it was a lot.
So I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the revised Section 300 finance policies as presented, including the addition of the staff travel policy, reimbursement policy, which is Section 286, removal of accounting procedures and truth in taxation policies under Section 830, and the updates to Section 210, nepotism policy.
I'll second.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
Commissioner Posey,
Yes.
Commissioner Veer,
yes.
President Open.
Yes. All right, let's move to 5.2, discussion and/or approval of service proposal with White & Company for the 2026 OSLAD grant.
Okay, so let me see. Let me pull this up. Okay, so we went back to the drawing board for the OSLAD grant, and again, I think while insurance is covering the remediation, I think it's important to remember that things like this can happen and expenses can come up. So if we can apply for a grant, if we have an opportunity to apply for a grant, it's always good to consider. So I know the board had some concerns the last time we presented it. So we did go back to the drawing board, and instead of adding new items, we pulled out some of the items that are currently in the referendum and put those in the OSLAD. We also feel it'll give us a better chance at obtaining the OSLAD. So we, for example, are putting the pickleball courts in the plan. So we can say these are our very first dedicated pickleball courts. We were going to put the volleyball courts, the multi-sport court. Yeah, let me get this up there.
If you want to jump to, the memo starts at 190.
Thank you. It didn't jump. Okay, so here is the plan for the audience to see. So the pickleball courts would be added. We would add an additional path. Right now, this path is not included in the current plans. The volleyball courts, the basketball court, and then this little pathway would be added here to connect it. So if we don't receive the OSLAD, the plans would still move forward as is, but again, we could get an extra $600,000 to help cover some of those additional alternate bids for irrigation and the scoreboard and those types of items. So the staff is recommending that we apply. It just opened. You can apply for up to $600,000 matching grant, so we could get 600 and put 600 in. So I'm happy to answer questions. The application is due September 1st.
So this will be your third application. We've had tremendous success with 1 and 2. Is there any concern that we would be knocked out of consideration or dinged because we've already applied and won 2 prior OSLAD grants?
I don't think so. They don't go by the amount you've received. There's plenty of districts that have received 3 years in a row, some 4 years in a row.
Okay.
So I don't think that should deter us. Again, we just need to have a strong application. And again, when we're putting things like the pickleball courts in there, our first dedicated pickleball courts, we also have a story here that we're telling with our referendum. And now we do have some, contamination that we're dealing with. So all those things will help us with our narrative.
Okay. And so I'm hearing, it sounds like it wouldn't then prohibit us later for applying for 4.
No.
2025. Then
Correct.
I'm saying that we would apply for those.
Right.
And then the follow-up question, is there any, and I don't know the answer to this, is there any, I don't know if concern is the right word, but do we know how much is available in OSLAD funds? Is there a chance, given that Springfield is likely going to have to go back and revise budgets, given the federal budget, is there any potential impact in any awards that will be, they award them in February, so is there any concern about that?
I don't think so. I believe there's 30, I want to say there was 30.
The reason I'm asking that is I don't.
34?
35 million.
35 million.
Okay. So the reason that I'm asking is I don't, I think we just have to consider that. Like, do we want to, because it's going to cost us money to submit an application. We will only want to submit an application if we think, one, that the money we're asking for is actually there to be given out, and two, that we have the greatest chance of success in actually receiving.
Yeah. So if you go onto OSLAD, like it's posted, it's ready for application. So if July 1st came and it wasn't presented, I would have concerns, but that money is there. Like it is available for OSLAD and it's on their website. It says it's open, so I don't foresee that changing.
Okay, and I'm third question, and I promise I'm done with questions. So the third question is, did I hear you correctly that even if we don't get the OSLAD grant, we still have the budget to complete the plan as we're seeing it here?
Correct.
Okay.
But we may not be able to add the irrigation or some of those other, so we're trying to stretch our dollars so we can get more in the plan.
Okay,
And
thank you.
But you are adding that pathway,
Yep.
you're adding the pollinator garden.
Yes.
That pathway, I guess that's it.
And the pollinator garden, my understanding with OSLAD grants is that is
An amenity.
That is well received. Yeah. Yeah.
So I have two questions.
Sure.
The location of the pollinator garden, I love the idea, but there's a lot of trees right there. I'm not sure if that's the best location.
Okay.
It seems like you have other locations you could do, that might be more appropriate for the growth of the pollinated plants.
Okay.
And then the other question is, on the asphalt paving, the color coats for the pickleball courts, this seems really high.
That's what it is.
So the multi-purpose court is 20, I know it's smaller, but that just had a coat on it not too long ago. Is it that much even for?
Well, the multi-purpose court is going to be smaller.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so it's like half the size. So, because the pickleball courts, well, they have to tear it up and redo it, but not half of it. I see what you're saying. Well, no. They're going to have to color code just a half. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, I can ask him about that. That's a good point.
Because it says 44,000 for the asphalt, 20,000 for so it's 60,000 for the whole brand new court.
Right.
This one's 40. It seems high.
Yeah. Okay. I can ask them. They may have. You're right. They may have factored in the whole area, like including the tennis courts, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. But let me double check. Okay. But there could also be more layers with it too.
Yeah.
More lines.
And smoothing.
Yeah. So. Okay.
Just a question.
Sure.
Counterpoint, Bob, on the pollinator garden.
Yeah.
If it is located in that area, it may also hide some of the restroom structure.
Right.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
So
From the soccer field.
But like.
I understand what you're saying, Joe. Yeah. There's trees to the west of that.
And north of that.
Okay. Yeah.
I understand. I love the idea.
Oh, yeah, sure. I know you're not opposed.
But we had a fail with the butterfly garden. I don't want to have another fail.
Understood.
I mean, we put money into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Understood. And so the cost is 14,500. And that is 8,000 for the planning to actually write the plans, and then 6,500 for the actual grant. So we're going to pay that 8,000 regardless because we have to do the plans because all these items are within the grant minus a couple things, the pollinator garden. So really, while it's 14,500. Really the main fees that we would have to pay is the 6,500 because again we're already designing these plans.
Yeah, I love the new additional walking, running area. It adds a lot. I'm curious as how it's a mile, is it a mile and a half? So I think this is really good. So I'm ready to make a motion. So easy, you sure know. I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the 2026 OSLA grant application process for Central Park to be completed by White & Company in the amount of $14,500 as presented.
Second.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
Commissioner Veer,
Yes.
Commissioner Posey,
Yes.
President Opid.
Yes. 5.3, discussion and/or approval of Sedgwick Park clubhouse structure.
Okay, so I'll just put this up here for the folks. Okay, so we have, because of the changes to the plan, we need to put back in the clubhouse because we can't relocate the current clubhouse. That's not feasible. So we are proposing a fabrication. I'm going to show you the samples on the board first. So we put some sample pictures. Keep in mind, this is not what it's going to look like. This is only to show the material. So the materials will look like this. It'd be 2 stories. So kind of that would almost be the length of it. There would be no fencing around the top. These are the elevation plans. So these are the plans. So it'd kind of be a 2-story. I know it's kind of hard to see. And then there'd be a garage door on the side. We are going to keep it a neutral color. So like a clay or a tan. And it is 10 by 24 feet, 10 feet by 24 feet. And the cost is that we have is $236,500. So we got this pretty quick. We wanted to get it into the board packet. So some of the concerns staff had was people accessing the stairs to it while it's closed and maybe getting up on the roof. So we are going to put more fencing and kind of make it a locked entry. So it'd be a gated entry. So only people who had the combination could get into the stairwell. And then they didn't propose, they proposed just regular fencing. All of our fencing that we're putting in is going to be the galvanized black coated fence. So we need to make changes for that. So while the presentation in the packet is $236,500, we need to make those couple amendments to the proposal. So we asked the board to approve up to $275,000. We don't think it's going to go that high. I don't anticipate it even going over $250,000, but we just wanted to give ourselves a little bit of room.
So, will there be concession sales out of there? Or could
No.
there be? Okay.
No, it will be storage, and then to access actually we're trying to keep the scoreboard out of there.
Correct.
Yeah. But it's more for storage and a place for like how they're using the clubhouse now. So they have meetings there, different things like that.
I was gonna say, why do we need the clubhouse? I'm not a baseball person.
Definitely for storage,
Someplace.
but if there's different tournaments or things like that, sometimes it's nice to have an area for them to go.
Okay. Okay.
So. And we'd like to try to replace like with like. You know, we currently have it, so we'd like to try to keep it.
Yeah, I was just more curious.
Yeah, and mainly for storage for the park district. So we can keep one of our ball field machines there, different tools, things like that.
Great.
Is there any thought to I don't know, to add more money to it, but to add grandstands to the Little League fields that match this field. Because now this one field is so close to the Little League fields. I think grandstands would be appropriate on the Little League fields as well. So I don't know if there's either share with Little League that you're doing, and they can maybe buy their own that match this.
Well, this is just a clubhouse. There's no.
Well, I'm sorry, clubhouse. This
Oh,
is where
I see.
an announcer would sit, or somebody would sit up there to keep score.
Well, we're taking the scoreboard out. So this field, the scoreboard will be able to be managed outside of this. They won't have to be in there.
Right. But it would look good to have this same type of club, whatever you want to call it, clubhouse.
Sure.
Behind the A and B fields as well. People could sit in there, could announce a game, or could keep score. I know you can, there's remotes to keep score. Could set up their game changer cameras that they put up to watch the game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good options.
Sure.
From when I travel around and see a lot of fields, we get a lot of good feedback about how amazing Sedgwick is these days. And if this is going to move over, it's just a thought.
Sure.
And also, I was curious. I was at the Babe Ruth championship games, and a lot of history with Babe Ruth Field. What kind of feedback have they given about all this stuff going away? There's been a lot of history there.
Yeah. So we've been keeping them updated. Obviously we didn't plan on having to remove the field. We were planning on keeping it. I think they understand. They're actually declining in their registration. So when I stepped into this role, I think they had 10 or 12 teams.
13
in 2021. They're down to 4.
Yeah. How about they're promoting it generally? How amazing it is.
So,
my son had a great experience.
well, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, my son is playing right now. He's had a great experience.
Yeah. So I think we'd be in a different position if we were taking space away from them. But with 4 teams, we can get away with one field, and hopefully working with Little League and I always get it wrong. The Tigers. I always want to call them the Bears. Tigers. Maybe we can help grow it and then move from there. So, but we've been very transparent with them and what's happening. So.
How many manufacturers are there to compete with this? How many? Have we looked at a couple, or is it just?
This is the one that they proposed. This is the one that they prefer.
White.
Yeah. So, and we also try to find someone who's working through a co-op so we can get the best government pricing.
Okay.
And so they're
That's
through.
what they do.
Yeah, they're through. It's called TIPS. I actually haven't heard of this one, the Interlocal Purchasing System. But all you have to do is sign up. So normally when they're through the co-op, it's a vetted process.
Okay. Sure, some more reliability as far as. I have a question on that. You mentioned the stairs, external stairs. Is that right? And then you said we're going to put a fence.
Yeah, kind of like an enclosed, gated area, so anybody just can't go up the stairs.
So it's just kind of like the fence that's around the field, like what do you call it?
Galvanized fencing, like just chain link.
Chain link. So won't they just clamp a chain link?
Well, we're adding a barrier, Bob. There's only so much we can do.
What I'm wondering is maybe it should just be like a sheet, like a.
Oh, like instead of fencing?
Yeah.
Or the stairs should be inside the building.
Either
I don't
way,
think
just
it's
because
good
if you know I'm climbing up there, you don't want a climbing fence right next to it.
I know. I'll see if there's any other options. See, this is why we're asking for money. Okay.
Aren't there houses for that price so much?
All right, so looking for a motion at this point, if there's no more questions.
I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the purchase of a new clubhouse for the relocated seating field at Sedgwick Park, not to exceed $275,000.
Second.
Commissioner Posey,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
Commissioner Veer,
Yes.
President Opeth.
Yes.
Does it, 275 include the pad? Pad?
No, it does not. It says it right in there.
I know, I saw that, but
Yeah.
the way we made the motion to it.
Yeah, this is just for the structure. Just for the structure.
All right, I believe there's no board business tonight on the agenda. Committee reports, 7.0. Any reports from the administration committee? There are no updates from the Parks and Facilities Committee. Any updates from the Recreation and Cultural Program Committee?
No.
All right. Seeing none, we'll move to 8.0. This is our second opportunity for public comments this evening. Same rules apply. Please state your name and address. If you'd like to make a comment, comments will be limited to 3 minutes. And I will now open the floor.
My name is Bernadine Sims again, and I want to know when will decision to actually name the park be made?
Yeah, if you want.
It's actually already been approved at our last, our May board meeting or June board meeting. So those have already been approved and the signs are already in production. So it will be Pennycook Park and Lacy Community Center.
Additional comments this evening? Please.
Hi, Danielle Wall from 12th Avenue. I'm actually Robson, right? I know you were at.
This is how I meet people.
I hope that you'll let me help you with the pollinator garden because I am a certified pollinator steward.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, and a beekeeper too.
Yeah, I know that.
But I just wanted to express the concern I had with the subject park, and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't incurred on us. And I heard some news walking in a little late, but was wondering if you guys already ventured to see if there was like EPA funds for a super fun site, or if you guys went back to ComEd, who was originally the dirty maker, if they would also consider the funds to support cleanup. That's my first question. And the second question is if they will be testing water over there in the basin. Sort of wondering if they're going to do the testing there.
So we're working with Testing Service Corporation, and we're in an agreement with them to enter into the site remediation program through the EPA. So they'll do all the testing. We just had some monitoring wells put in to measure the water levels and things like that. So they'll be.
They are already involved then.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, and we've looked at many funding sources. Unfortunately, we didn't qualify or rejected. They do have a lot of loans, but we're not looking for a loan. We're looking to try to find some money. So we are still exploring
Well, if I
avenues.
help with that, I would love to help too. I also
Excellent.
have a PhD in biochemistry and molecular genetics and was a
Okay.
cancer biologist for like 13 years at UIC.
Okay.
I'm retired now.
Okay.
If you guys
Yeah.
need help.
Excellent. I know where to find you. Next to Bob. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional comments this evening?
Do you want me to share your number? Do you want me to share your number?
Not right now. We'll put it in the minutes.
No, you know.
Marian Hannah Wilson from the Community University of the Grange area. I just want to mention that we have our annual Race Unity Rally coming up on Sunday, September 14th at the Grange Village Hall, 3 p.m. I know some of you have attended in the past, and I just want to invite all the board members and staff as well as the public to come out for our annual event. And we are having our annual movie this year on the Friday before the rally at LaGrange Public Library. Even though the library isn't usually open on Friday evenings, it's going to be open. We're collaborating with them for the film, and it's going to be a screening of the documentary A Binding Truth. So I'll send the flyer as soon as we get that going, and then if you could post it, we would.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any additional comments? All right. Thank you very much. We will now move to agenda item 9.0, board comments.
I have a comment. So I read a really interesting, slightly disturbing article in the New York Times over the weekend relating to venture capital's increasing interest in youth sports. As someone that loves youth sports, have children in youth sports, in club sports as well, I'm a big supporter of club sports. We've got AYSO here, AYSO, and have happily financially supported those organizations because I think it's been great. But what I really, really, truly support is rec sports, rec league, where kids can just like play just for the joy of playing. And I want to recognize that this article made me sad because I think that it takes the youth out of youth sports and commercializes it in a way that is not healthy for our communities. And so shout out to the Park District and Kevin and his team for doing new things like putting together a youth volunteer-led, and also shout out to our volunteer coach here, to the flag football league, which is brand new and it sounds like it's killing it, so well done. And also to new groups that are really trying to do new things like our handball, that group that came in here. So I think it's really important, and pickleball of course, but I think it's really important to remember that like that's the intent. That's why we're here. We spent a lot of time talking about finances at these meetings, but we're all here because we support our community and we believe in the recreation part of park districts. And when I joined the board too, I'm just going to pontificate just for a little bit longer here, but when I joined the board too, it was right after the pandemic, and I realized during the pandemic how critically important it is to have an open public space, not necessarily even to play sports, but to just gather as a community. And that is why I volunteer every month to come here and beyond, why I read gigantic board packets with policy updates, because I truly believe in the Park District. So it's an interesting / sad article, but it was in the New York Times over the weekend, so.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, the flag football was really cool this weekend. And between that and Lions, Kevin and then Liam, his team do a really wonderful job. Liam's out there emailing all the parents. You have to end up saving it as a favorite so you can keep track of when the timing of all the stuff is. And Liam's doing a great job, so I just want to give him a shout out.
Thank you.
I'm just thankful to the board and the staff to be able to see some stuff that's happening now. I mean, there's a lot of unseen things that we've been doing, the agreements and background and money and everything else. So it's just the Wyola playground looks magnificent, and the buildings, the pictures of the buildings you showed, it's just brightening everything up. So it's great to be seen or be able to see the stuff. But also thank you for the unseen stuff like this manual.
Well, I'm going to warn you, next month I think you're getting a large safety manual. But I'm going to give it to you at the board meeting, and then you'll have a whole month. And we'll review it at the next one. I'm prepping you.
I just want to say, I feel like the Park District community is really a team beyond the Park District of LaGrange, but in the wider, suburban network. And I actually want to congratulate the LaGrange Park District for taking over the YMCA to keep some, services available to their community. I think that's wonderful that they stepped in there. It's great to have them join us, but it's also nice to keep that in the community. And thanks for sharing that information. And again, thank you, Coach Chris. I really appreciate that. It's great to see board members actively involved.
And I commend you for doing that, because I know it's not always easy to sit out there in the hot sun and help the kids, and I can see it in the color of your face. This weekend, so thank you.
All right, with that, I think we were at 10.0, executive session. I do not believe there's any this evening, so I will move for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming.